Hello, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to make a video of just something I was inspired to do. It's nothing planned, I'm just going to talk. And it's going to help me buy some time here while we're out here in this beautiful weather. So, man, where do I start? I get a lot of inbox messages talking about asking, how do you escape the matrix? How do you, you know? And the thing is, guys and gals, the only matrix there is the matrix between your ears. That's it. Everything that you think you experience is not happening outside of you. The only thing we're experiencing are the stories that we actually tell ourselves in our head. Peer-reviewed science shows out of all the information you're taking in from your eyes looking out, only 20% is coming in to these light receptors that then go and send the information to the thalamus in your brain. The thalamus then picks up the other 80%, which is based on your personal, individualized, meaning undivided, beliefs and your experiences. Then that 80% is sent back to these light generators behind the eyes, and your story's played out of life. So if 20% is coming in, goes to the thalamus, 80% is collected, and then sent back to the light generators to play what you think is life. This is why your beliefs are so important. This is why if you don't, as they say, reprogram, recondition the subconscious mind, when you hear some new news or something and it goes against your belief system, it never makes it past the reticular activating system, which are a group of fibers behind the neck. It's like your BS odometer. If it doesn't correlate, it won't accept it. It never makes it past there. So anyhow, when you have these beliefs that no longer serve you, you're seeing, this is why they say you're seeing reality the way you are and not the way it is. Because everything is within your own consciousness, meaning your own mind, your own thoughts, your own stories. So again, when what you're experiencing, or just the experience of the stories that you're telling yourself in your head. The issue is, we don't even know that these stories are being played out. I mean, you know the story, you know what you're thinking, but you don't realize that's what you're witnessing out in your screen of space, your reality. You know, it can be very challenging to understand this at first, because here's the deal. This thing called the matrix, this human construct of belief system, everything is simply a stepping stone. Every belief, regardless if it's religion, if it's this, it's atheism, whatever, it's all within creation itself, all within that circumference, that sphere. You know, think of creation, or if you want to call it God for now, doesn't matter what you call it because it really has no name, but just so that you don't get disconnected. Creation itself, think of the center of creation as the middle of every point in space and time in the sphere, and its circumference, there's no boundary, it's infinity. Meaning, that may sound weird, but again, the center of God, the center of creation, is in every point in space and time whether it be in a grain of sand, a tree, whatever, but it has no circumference. There's an infinity of it, right? Which means it's everywhere. This is why they call it the holographic reality, right? It's very fluid, based on each individual's personal beliefs and experiences. I've said it a lot of times. It's like these clear windows, and everyone's just a mirror to help you evolve, help you keep learning, to wake up, to come and have what's called self-realization, to know thyself. Now again, you can't dog on anything. You can at first because that's all you know. You start blaming the external world, and you start opening up, the layers start coming off. You start to realize that it's all coming from you. And so, like, I had an incident that, regardless of how much you've experienced, what you've learned, the only constant in life is change, evolution. And the only way that's going to happen is to create mistakes, make mistakes. But you also have to learn from those mistakes. That's why it's called error. Lead me not confusion, but deliver me from error, not sin. Because without those errors and those mistakes, you can never evolve. And since we know that life is vibration, frequency, and sound, it's never stagnant. That would go against these immutable universal laws, law of creation. So it's okay to make mistakes. We just have to learn from them. When we realize each one of us individually, meaning undivided, is the eachness of the allness. Think about that. We are all the eachness of the allness. Individuals experiencing from that point in space-time, expressing, right, of creation, God, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to call it, whatever level you want to understand it. The question is, if we have all those same attributes, what is it that are you choosing to express at any given time? Doesn't matter if it's someone that wants to be macho tough with the ego, someone that wants to be, super sweet, like an angel. That's why the saying goes, be smart as a serpent, but gentle as a dove. Because you have it all in you. What do they mean when they say we're made in the image of God? Image of creation, image of God. Again, whatever title you want to use. It's saying, ask yourself, how does God or creation see us? Imagine that for a minute. Through its eyes, how is it seeing us? Do you think it's seeing us from love or fear? So we're creating, we have the potential of being relatively perfect. And if we can start asking the questions so that when we see something as an upside or putting someone or an experience in a pedestal, we can ask the opposite question, okay, what's the downside of that? So that way we know that every experience, every person has both good and bad, right? Has a positive and negative, support and challenge, which is the only constant thing in real life. Now, when I started this journey years ago, it was March of 2019, living in this fantasy of thinking I can have a one-sided life, a perfect life, where everything, heaven, right? But the issue was, it was futile. No matter what I did, how much I did it, it made it even worse. Until the lessons kept coming, these errors, these mistakes, and I would learn. Then I realized that, sorry, make sure you guys still see, that life is always going to be about support and challenge. This is the part. The spiritual realm and the 3D realm are one and the same, because everything is, as the Microsoft chip inventor, processor, I think Farragut talked about. Everything is within consciousness playing itself out, not coming out of consciousness, which is a huge difference. It's a game changer. So this is why they talk about when we have these feelings inside or experiences, that biochemical reaction that causes what we call an emotion, energy in motion, that's a quantum information, a quantum experience occurring within us that cannot be explained with classical information, meaning by words in language. We can describe it to the best that we can, but no one will ever understand what an individual is trying to express or describe, because classical information, meaning language, talk, regular science, biochemistry, blah, 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 can be explained and determined, as where the quantum world, quantum information, quantum bits can never be measured. They'll never discover it, because it's all within consciousness up to a certain point. It's all within it playing itself out. So if we're sitting there trying to, wake up, again, everything has its place and reason. Everything's a stepping stone. You can't dog on anything. We all needed something to believe in to begin with. Doesn't matter if it's this lifetime or the next lifetime, you're going to figure it out. But we cannot dog on anything, because we have to understand life is going to have support and challenge no matter what. And if you think you're on this journey to have a one-sided life, you're in for a big surprise and a lot of disappointment. In fact, it's going to revert and make you feel even worse, because it's going to keep bringing you episodes like the resistance, right? It's going to keep bringing you episodes and experiences of showing you how life is not one-sided. So in other words, you're always going to have that good, bad, and ugly coming until you start asking the right questions. Once you see or have a biased judgment against an individual, an experience, meaning if you are putting them on a pedestal or putting them in the pits, ask yourself the question of what its opposite is, so you can start training your brain, which is called neuroplasticity, to start leveling it out. Because once you start thinking from that way and it starts becoming subjective, man, everything changes. In other words, if you start vibrating that way, seeing the world as neutral, holy, 100% good, 100% bad, whatever you want to call it, whatever terminology you want to use, and you make that your constant vibe, again, since we know it doesn't stay stagnant, whatever goes out has to come in. As Emmanuel said, as you believe within your heart, so shall it be done unto you. Which means it is always being done unto us based on our beliefs, which I've always said. The only true free will we have is what we get to believe in. Because those beliefs cause certain thoughts. Those thoughts cause certain actions. Those thoughts cause certain feelings. And those feelings cause us to do a certain action. And it's a loop. It's a loop that continues, And I appreciate those that are taking the time to listen to this. If it helps you, great. If nobody listens to it, it's okay, because I can play the part here. I'm a jigsaw puzzle in this divine orchestration. And this is literally an internal dialogue I'm having with myself. If it helps someone to be able to share those things, great. It's not to sit here and try to say, oh, I want to teach someone this, teach someone that. You can't teach anyone nothing. One, when you share your experiences to your fellow human beings, to me, you're only taking away. You're taking away the beliefs that no longer serve them, whose soul or spirit is ripe enough to be receptive to get to that next level. Because since we are everything and everyone, and we have all of its traits and attributes, you can only learn what you already know. Let me repeat that. You can only learn what you already know. And from the deepest part of your spirit, that's a fragment of creation, in essence, since creation's already finished and relatively perfect, it's already done. In my mind's eye, we're just reliving this part of our evolution, which is great. You're learning to perfect your spirit relatively. And I can't go into too much to that because then you'll really get lost. And later I'll kind of explain on another video how manual was such a huge game changer for me. It took me 3 years of reading, researching, digesting. It wasn't about who brought the message of them being ETs or advanced beings with technology, because they're the same. They bleed like us. They put their pants on one leg at a time like us. It was the message they brought. That's the same message that's been since time immemorial, which are the recommendations and laws of creation. I don't put anybody on the pedestal. I don't put anybody in the pits. I see everyone exactly the same, because that's what we are. In fact, I put creation in the first position with everything and everyone. And regardless of how much you experience, how much you believe you know, consciously and subjectively, the only thing that's always happening in life is change, evolution, triggers. And I had one that got me good this week. And I wasn't mad or upset with the person. I was trying to figure out where within me was that trigger coming from. Because if I know I'm the only one here, and everything is being played out based on what's within my thinking, my story, between my 2 ears, where is it? And it took me some time. And man, I bless that individual, because I would have never found it or knew that it was there if it wasn't for them. And even though I felt like I was going nuts for a little bit because I just could not connect the dots, trying to ask myself, how is this even fathomable if I've experienced this and that? And then the law of momentum, man, it clicked. I kept doing my routine. So again, life is never going to be one-sided, and nor will any other person. You never met an individual that's always gentle, soft, good, right? That'd be a lie. If I sat there and told you this is the way I am and that's the only way I am, I'd be full of it, because I have that other side too. It all comes back to, out of all the attributes, all the traits, which ones do you choose to express daily, right? Give creation, or God, if you will, a different song and dance to play for, because that's the only thing that matters. And by doing so, regardless of how insignificant you think you are or what you do is, it's not only helping yourself, but helping the collective. Every person you love, every person you think you hate, because that's only internal. And it really is a beautiful journey. And I appreciate those that listen to my material. Doesn't matter if you like or share comments or not. The only thing that matters to me is that you're allowing me to share my journey, and I appreciate it. There's a lot of things else, so many things I want to talk about, but I think I've rambled on enough. I'm going to check this video to see if it came out. And, trust the process, people. What you're thinking, what you feel, are the things are the actions you're gonna do. And it's never too late to change, regardless of where you're at in your life. Because one day when I write my book, I'll let you know where I was at. And I tell you what, it's pretty amazing. I do plan to make this also onto a YouTube video. Thank you for all my new subscribers. Remember, as they say, what you're looking for is looking for you. Your higher self is already there. Everything's exactly where it's supposed to be. The world's exactly where it needs to be in its collective evolution, which is why Emmanuel knew this too. No matter what he did, what he said, he knew the world had to go in such deep errors that it had to have its own epiphany of waking up. Because every experience, every lesson, every mistake, every error that we learn from is creating the essence of unconditional love, gratitude, all the good stuff that are impulses that contribute to the evolution of creation, because it is too relatively perfect, but it is also always perfecting itself to be better. Thank you again. Wish you well on your journey. Love, light, and peace.